What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Leprechaun. Alright, so I know people absolutely hate this franchise and totally dismiss these movies and think they're just, not worth their time and they're terrible movies. But actually, I do enjoy some of the movies in the Leprechaun franchise, mainly some of the sequels. The first movie, not a huge fan of. It's just pretty boring. I can't really get into it. I've only seen all these movies once before, but I'm more into some of the sequels than the first one. And I don't like a ton of these movies. I like the main ones that I like. I really like the third one. The fourth one is good, and then I like the newer one, Leprechaun Returns. That one is pretty solid. But yeah, the first movie, I can't really get into it. It's just not really my thing. But anyways, I'm gonna jump into a little plot summary here. So basically, you have this couple, and the husband, he has this little bag of gold that he stole from a leprechaun. The leprechaun comes back, tracks him down to get the gold back. One thing leads to another. This guy's wife is killed by the leprechaun. This guy traps the leprechaun in a box. He puts a 4-leaf clover over it. You think that he's dead, but actually he had a stroke and he's in some sort of assisted living facility. And after these initial events, it jumps to 10 years later, and this girl Tori, played by Jennifer Aniston, is going with her dad to rent the same house for the summer. And when she's there, she meets these painters. One of the painters, Ozzy, accidentally lets the leprechaun out, and the leprechaun torments them for the rest of the movie. Now I'm going to jump into my likes, and even though I don't like this movie that much, I actually did write down quite a few things that I did like about it. It did have some stuff going for it and some cool moments, but yeah, overall it was just not a great time. So the first thing that I liked is the leprechaun looks really good. He's all crusty and creepy looking, and he looks like a scary, menacing little leprechaun. Another thing that I liked were his rhymes. He had a couple rhymes. They're pretty darn funny. The ones in this one weren't the best. Some of the ones in the sequels later on are funnier. The best one is in Leprechaun in the Hood, when he's like, a friend with weed is a friend indeed, but a friend with gold is the best, I'm told. That's the most iconic Leprechaun rhyme right there. But yeah, his rhymes in this were cool. They're pretty fun. Another thing that I liked is the leprechauns riding like a variety of little vehicles. I don't know if you'd really call them vehicles because they're not all like motorized, but I didn't know what else to call it. He's riding like a little tricycle, and then he's like riding a wheelchair later in fast motion. So I think they like carried that on. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, in the second one he's like riding like a go-kart for a little bit. So I don't know, that's just kind of like a little fun aspect of the movie that I liked. Another thing that I really liked is this kid who's a painter with Nathan and Ozzy, this kid Alex. He was like the best character. He was just this badass little kid. He was just cracking jokes the entire time. He was just super charismatic. And they're like, hey Alex, like, how would you kill the leprechaun? He's like, man, I get a 357 Magnum, I put it to his temple, blam. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't know if that's exactly how he said it, but I mean, you're just gonna initially just think of blowing away a leprechaun with a 357 Magnum. That's pretty darn gangster. And the same character has like the best line in the entire movie. towards the end, he's like, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms." I mean, like I said, best line in the entire movie. That's iconic stuff. Another thing that I wrote down for my likes actually kind of coincides with that whole Lucky Charms theme. So at one point in the movie, the leprechaun is like rifling through the pantry, and he finds this box of Lucky Charms. They don't really say Lucky Charms on it because they don't want to get sued. But then they did say Lucky Charms later, so I don't know. But it's like supposed to be Lucky Charms, and he eats it and then he just spits it out, which is pretty darn funny. And I kind of feel him on that because I don't know, the thing about Lucky Charms, I've never really been into that cereal. I would eat it when I was a kid, but it wasn't my favorite of the sugary cereals. Like the cereal itself is lame. Like the only good part's the marshmallows, but I don't really mess with those like cereal marshmallows, honestly. Like I don't know. There's so many other like iconic kid cereals like Captain Crunch, Oops All Berries, that's solid. Can't go wrong with a little Frosted Flakes, honeycombs, but yeah, like never been a huge fan of Lucky Charms, but all the Lucky Charms commercials were always like really awesome. So there's that. And I just have one more thing that I wrote down for my likes, and that is towards the end when they're defeating the leprechaun, he gets all like melted and you can pretty much see his skeleton and stuff like that. And the effects on that, all the makeup, looked absolutely amazing. That was like, I was really surprised because this movie, there's not really a lot of gore or crazy practical effects. I mean, the makeup of the actual leprechaun, like I said, looks good, but towards the end when he's getting all melted, I mean, it looks pretty darn good in my opinion. Alright, so those are all my likes. Now I'm gonna jump into my dislikes. So the first dislike is just that this movie is boring. I've seen this movie once before, and I can't get into the first one. It's just I don't know, like there's a couple funny moments, there's a couple kills, but they're sporadic. Like most of the movie just drags. It jumps between like a bunch of different scenes. Like the pacing is off. I don't care that much about the characters. I like that kid Alex. He's cool, but I don't really care that much about the characters. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those movies where like I'm watching it the entire time, but I'm just zoning out. Like it's not like I'm like doing other stuff. Like I'm paying attention to the movie, but I just always zone out. Like I just can't really get into it. It's not that engaging. So yeah, this movie's pretty darn boring in my opinion. Another dislike is that it's not funny enough. Like the concept is really funny and silly, but I feel like they don't take it to that next level. Like it's like a schlocky, silly concept, and the funny moments they do put in are awesome, but there's not enough funny moments. I feel like they should have went like over the top and just made it extremely silly, extremely goofy, because it's like for the most part they kind of just play it straight, like it's supposed to be like a straightforward horror movie, like, but like us as the audience, like we're not really supposed to take this serious. Like it's like a little leprechaun. Like they should have went like way harder in the comedy route, because like I said, the funny scenes, even though there weren't that many, they worked pretty well in my opinion. Another thing, this is like two separate dislikes, but I'm just going to combine them. So there's not very many kills, and the kills are pretty lame. So the only kills that I remember are the pogo stick kill. That one was actually good. But the other one that I remember is just this like cop gets his neck broken, and yeah, there's not that many kills. There's not that much gore. Like I said, for this type of movie, I feel like you gotta deliver, like make it gory, make the kills fun. But yeah, the kills were pretty darn lackluster, which is disappointing. And I mean, that's all I have for my dislikes. So I mean, not that many dislikes, but they're pretty big ones where it takes down the entire movie for me, where it's really hard to enjoy this movie. And even though there are like a lot of enjoyable elements, it's just the dislikes just outweigh it way more. So that's all I have for my dislikes. Now I'm gonna jump into my WTF moments, and I actually only have one, and that's so the three guys have a painting company, and on the side of their truck it says three guys who paint. So, you know, it's referring to Nathan, Alex, and Ozzy, but the three guys who paint. This dude Alex is like 10 years old. He's not a guy, and he's like a little kid, and it's like you're gonna write three guys who paint as the name of your business, and your one worker is like a 10-year-old kid. Like what? Like how is that even allowed? How's that legal? Like is this? I mean, the kid's smart, but is he competent? Like you're gonna let some 10-year-old kid paint the house? Like he's like an official member of the company. What the heck is going on? Like I don't know. I was just like I like him as a character, but like how is he like legit like their business partner? I mean, maybe he's like the little brother and he's just helping out, but I mean, good for that kid because he's just probably just stacking the paper. I mean, it's like a little 10-year-old kid just like working full time painting houses, probably making bank, but I don't know, like it's a little crazy, you know, if you're 10 years old and you're like an official member of your family business. I guess you gotta help out, and maybe times are tough, but yeah, that was a big WTF moment for me. I'm like, what the heck, man? You're gonna have like a little kid as your business partner? Probably not the smartest business move in my opinion. But as far as everything that I wanted to talk about for this movie, I pretty much went over it. I would not recommend this. It's really not worth your time. The reason that I decided to review this is because, you know, St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. I like getting festive, you know, watching, you know, movies that correlate with specific holidays. So I wanted to watch this. I want to watch these in order. I'm thinking about doing reviewing a couple more of these before St. Patrick's Day if I have time. But I would not recommend the first one. The first one is lackluster. It's boring. I would just say like just skip to part 3. Watch part 3 is the best in the series in my opinion. If you are looking for, you know, a St. Patrick's Day themed horror movie, watch part 3. Don't bother with part 1. It's a waste of time. There are, you know, a couple good moments, like I said, like the "fuck you, Lucky Charms" and some of the funny moments, but overall, this movie is just boring. The kills aren't there. It's for a movie about a killer leprechaun. It should be way more fun. It's not really that fun. So yeah, I would say don't check this out. Just skip to part 3. Watch some of the other sequels. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say about Leprechaun. Thank you very much for watching, and peace out.